Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and good day everyone. My name is Isa, my matric number is 218380 and I will be taking you through the first phase of our statistics project from Team 9. So our project looks to explore the perceptions of university students upon the food quality and variety available near the campuses, wherein we look upon the impacts on their satisfaction, health, and well-being. So our project aim looks to provide a comprehensive overview upon the preferences of those students and identify the potential areas wherein improvements can be made by examining several factors like the food quality, the variety, the affordability, and accessibility. So as a student, one of the most important parts of a university experience for us is campus dining. So again, as students, we feel that it's extremely important to have a space and a time wherein we can relax and enjoy some good food near our campuses um, due to it being a lot more convenient for us. So this is why it's important to understand what university students think of the dining options available on their campuses, so that timely decisions can be made for improvements and to protect the relationship between both the institution and the students itself. So what's our main problem question? Our question is, do university students perceive the quality and variety of dining out options available near their campus as satisfactory? Again, our objective is to investigate the opinions of university students regarding campus dining. And we as a team have formed up three main hypotheses which we think will turn out to be true. The first hypothesis is that male students are a lot more likely to perceive the dining out options available near the campus as adequate in terms of portion sizes, price, whereas female students will be a lot more concerned with the availability of healthy and diverse dietary options. The second hypothesis is that local students are a lot more familiar with and satisfied by the dining out options near the campus, whereas international students perceive a lack of variety catering to their cultural dietary preferences. Our third hypothesis is that on-campus students perceive the dining out options available near the campus as a lot more convenient and diverse due to proximity, whereas off-campus students believe the options are a lot less convenient and thus are a lot more critical of the variety and the food quality. So we had opted to go for a survey type data collecting method wherein we had given out a Google survey on the 21st of May. And we had collected those initial data from a total of 91 university students about their opinions on the campus dining. So this survey was distributed through various WhatsApp groups and other social media platforms like Instagram. And these were sent to the Malaysian locals, along with other international students outside Malaysia. And again, this survey asked about the students' satisfaction with the quality and variety of campus dining, as well as their own specific concerns if they had any, such as prices, portion sizes, and healthy and diverse options. So this is our general demographics. From a total of 91 students, we have 56 male students and 35 female students. And out of those students, we have 50 local Malaysians and 41 international students from India, Pakistan, UAE, and Maldives. We also do have 45 students out of those 91 who live on campus, and 46 of those students who live off campus. So for testing out our hypotheses, we have used two main methods. The first method is using the descriptive statistics, wherein we ranged out the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as very poor, poor, average, good, and excellent accordingly. We also calculated the variances and the standard deviation. And our second method is calculating using the Welch's 2t method, wherein we calculated the value of t using the t static equation for the two independent samples, wherein we also calculated the means of x1 and x2, the means of the two groups, along with the sample size of both the groups. Apart from that, we also calculated the degree of freedom for those independent samples. All right, so that's it from me. I now hand it over to Rafaf, who will take you through the hypothesis one. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Wasik, and now we're going to be discussing our hypothesis. Hypothesis 1 was that male students are more likely to perceive the more likely to perceive the dining out options as adequate in terms of portion sizes and prices, while the female students will be more satisfied with the availability of maybe less satisfied with the availability of healthy options and the availability of diverse dietary options. So when we did our survey, then we collected our data and then we compiled our data in the form of bar graphs. As you can see, these are the bar graphs which has very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, and very dissatisfied. And you can see which ones have the longer bars and which ones have the shorter bars for each for portion size, price, availability of healthy options, and the availability of diverse dietary options. So once we compiled this data in the form of bar graphs, we moved on to our hypothesis testing. So we calculated the means for each for male students and for female students. And we have numbers here because we assigned numbers from 1 to 5, 1 being very dissatisfied and 5 being very satisfied, in which 3 was neutral. So the mean closer to 3 would mean that it is more closer to neutral. And since it's greater than 3 and less than 4, it would mean that it's somewhere between neutral and satisfied. So you can say that both male and female students were somewhat neutrally satisfied for each of these options. This is closer to 3, this is closer to 3, this is also closer to 3. These ones are closer to 4, which is satisfied. And so for each criteria, you have the variance. Using the variance formula, you have the mean. And then we move on using this data. So then we calculated the t-value using the t-value formula, which involved the means and the variances, standard deviations. We calculated the degree of freedom using those, and then we calculated the p-value using these two values from an online calculator, and then we got this value. And this value, if it's greater than 0.05, it would mean that the null hypothesis will not be rejected, which would mean that the null hypothesis is actually accepted and that the alternative hypothesis will be rejected. So it's the same for all of these options are the same criteria. So for price, for diverse dietary options, for healthy dining options, all of these had the null hypothesis that was accepted, which means that the alternative hypothesis was rejected. Then we move on to hypothesis 2, which had the quality, variety, and culturally diverse option for international students. Same way, same bar graphs, local students and international students this time. And since this is only one sample, so only one for international students. And then we move on to hypothesis testing. We had the mean using the same values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and only one, because it's only a single sample. Then we move on to hypothesis testing the same way for this as well. T-value, degree of freedom using the p-value. P-value is greater than 0.05, null hypothesis will not be rejected, which means that the alternative hypothesis will be rejected. Same for variety. And since we had only one sample in this one for international students, we used a one-side or one-tailed left t-test in which we set 3 as our average, as our hypothesized mean because it's neutral. So anything less than that would mean they're dissatisfied. If they're greater than that, means they're satisfied. So we had the t-value, we had the degree of freedom, we had the standard significance level set at 0.05, Then we calculated the t-value from its distribution table, use this to get this. Then we use all of these values in an online calculator to get the p-value. And since the p-value was greater than 0.05, we can say that the null hypothesis will not be rejected, which means that the alternative hypothesis will be rejected. What this means is that all of our hypotheses so far, if the null hypothesis have been accepted, it would mean that there is not enough data to prove our hypothesis as being correct or as being true. So for now, our hypothesis can be said as being incorrect or false. But if we had more evidence, we could have different data. That's it from me. Now moving on.
Hi, my name is Rafaf, and I'll be talking about our third hypothesis. Our third hypothesis was that on-campus students would perceive dining out options near campus to be more convenient and diverse, while off-campus students may find it less convenient and may be more critical of the quality and variety offered. If you take a look at the graphs, you'll notice that from both demographics, the majority of people found it to be either neutral or they were satisfied. Very little being uh, very satisfied or answering excellent, and even less being dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. We assigned a value to each of the answers from 1 to 5, with 1 being least satisfied and 5 being very satisfied. And we use that to find the means and variance. So if we take a look at the means, 3 is neutral. So we'll notice that everything's slightly above 3, but not quite 4. So majority of the answers are somewhere between neutral and satisfied, but there's a large difference between uh, the mean of on-campus and off-campus students for diverse dietary options. We'll do some hypothesis testing with a t-test to find out if we are actually correct. So we use the formulas to find the t-value and the degree of freedom, and we use the calculator to find the p-value. We compare them with 0.05, and for variety, convenience, and quality, we found that since it's greater than 0.05, the null hypothesis will not be rejected, meaning that there is no significant difference between the means of both groups. But for diversity and dietary options, the p-value is less than 0.05, and the null hypothesis will be rejected. This means that there was a difference found. In conclusion, however, all 3 of our hypotheses, we could not find sufficient evidence to support them. In hypothesis 1, we accepted the null hypothesis. Both male and female students generally felt satisfied with portion sizes. Male students were neutral about prices, while female students were a little more satisfied. And both genders had a neutral view on the availability of healthy and diverse dietary options, suggesting overall satisfaction with campus dining options. Hypothesis testing did not support hypothesis 2 either. We accepted the null hypothesis. Both local and international students generally agreed on the quality and variety of campus dining options, with local students viewing it as average and international students a bit more positively. International students found culturally diverse dining options satisfactory, indicating they value the diversity offered, possibly due to experiencing new culinary choices on campus. For our third hypothesis, again, we could not find enough evidence to support it, so we accept the null hypothesis. Both on-campus and off-campus students generally agreed on the quality, variety, and convenience of dining options. On-campus students, however, were neutral about diverse dietary options, whereas off-campus students were satisfied. Both groups were satisfied with convenience. On-campus students felt neutral about dining quality. Off-campus students were satisfied, likely influenced by frequency of campus dining. Overall, the variety of dining options on campus appears satisfactory based on student perceptions. Thank you very much for listening. That will be all from us.